Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Well, welcome to the Life Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, that's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Life Support. With Michele, who's really short. We'll have a ball. With June, who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Life Support. With Michele, who's really short. Now it's time to start Life Support.
The Life Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, here's all a round of applause.
Oh my goodness. That's never going to get old. With Michele, who's really short. All right, welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast, the award-winning Laugh Support Podcast. I'm your host, let's say it right this time, June Colson.
There you
That's
go.
me. And my best friend, Michele, with one L, VanDusen. How you doing, Michele VanDusen?
I'm well. It's so good to see you. How's the air up there? I'm just curious because, down here it's really, really nice.
That's not a cheesy joke at all. No one's ever said that to me. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're into the second season of the Laugh
season
Support
2
podcast. Again, brand new song. I love the video that you did too that has just faces of people who joined us in our first season, all of our most amazing friends. That's so cool to see that. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, Michele. We're going to talk about how you got a friend. What movie is that? What's the Toy Story?
Toy Story.
You got a friend in me.
Okay, we're not going to sing it because
no, let's not. No, that was bad. That was really bad. But yeah, so on this episode, we're going to kind of talk about friendships and our friends in comedy and what a benefit it is to have. Oh, we're not going to talk about friends with benefits. This is a clean podcast. It came out wrong. Oh my lord. Look,
my son is an insurance agent, so if he needs some benefits. Life insurance.
Yeah, no. I always sound like the bad guy, but like you're the one who was talking about a Corvette bra a few minutes ago. So I'm just saying that wasn't on the air, but I'm just gonna put it out there. She's not as squeaky as you think, y'all. She's not. No, I'm just kidding. Michele, you're awesome. Okay, so friends, comedy friends, our friends in our life, right? One thing about
I can't believe you just outed me like that.
Well, at least I didn't post it on Facebook. You have a way of telling on me on social media and not, it's just on the podcast. Okay, so let's talk about friends. So friends, one thing that bonds us to friends is having experiences that only you and that person fully get. Understand, it's kind of like brothers and sisters, like with my brother and my sister, I don't have to explain my parents to them. Mom does something or dad does something, we can just look at each other. We know, you know what I mean? And with your friends, it's like that with certain experiences. And you and I were talking earlier that both of us, our earliest best friends were, cousins. So I have my cousin Angel, who has been one of my best friends forever. And we were talking about your cousin. Now tell us, Michele, about your cousin and this weird thing that only you guys would understand.
Okay, so I have my cousin Laura Leonardo, and she's tall like you. And and so if I walked behind her, and her arms would swing, I'd always get smacked in the face. I mean, it is what it was, right?
I'm sure that was an accident.
No, not at all. And it totally was an accident. But anytime I would say, don't let the sneaky snake get your root beer, which it would make her laugh. Now, I don't know where the saying came from or why she enjoyed that so much or where the inside joke was.
Okay,
I
let's
think
slow down though. It's don't let sneaky snake get your root beer. Okay.
Yes.
This is the phrase.
Don't let sneaky snake get your root beer.
Okay.
And And I think it started with her and her cousin, and it had something to do with actual root beer and snakes, but I'm not 100% sure. All I know is it would make her laugh or smile, and I like seeing people laugh and smile. So I would always say that, and then because she's laughing and smiling, I would laugh and smile, but I have no idea. I hope I'm not saying anything bad right now. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, if
So
we Google it, it could be like in the Urban Dictionary for something really awful. So nobody Google
yeah,
that. Nobody Google that. Okay,
I
so
have
you guys
no
had this
idea.
silly phrase, and then you had an experience with her that if you even I'm gonna guess if you say balcony or sleeping bag, that's it. That's all you have to say. You don't have to explain any further, but
Nope.
explain to our listeners what happened with you and your sneaky snake cousin on a balcony.
So, my brother and my cousin thought it would be fun to roll up inside our sleeping bags to look like a sneaky snake and then just roll off this second floor balcony onto the yard below, which, it's our yard and it was a big house, and I'm
Well,
like,
but why wasn't there railing? Like, how could you just roll straight off a balcony? Like,
okay.
you gotta explain that. You have to explain that much. Like, what?
Okay,
Like,
there was a railing, but it wasn't fenced in. It was a railing, so like the two planks or whatever. So if you're a small kid, you can roll right underneath. But if you're standing, the railing is there. So you had to kind of squeeze down. Well, we didn't because we were tiny. You
I'm
just
just gonna say that wasn't up to code. I'm just gonna say
Oh,
there's
it
no
was
way.
totally up to code. Well, now, no,
No,
because you have to have a
no.
safety helmet on for everything.
Yeah, yeah,
But this is how you weed out the weak, I think is
right. It's true. So true.
I'm from the generation, June, that we would
Mhm.
weed out the weak.
Go on,
Nobody
Granny.
needed
Tell
to
us.
have
Go on, Granny.
knee pads or elbow pads or helmets. What's a
Okay,
helmet?
you're in your sleeping bag, Grandma, and
Yeah,
probably
so
made out
we're
of straw or something.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. So, yeah, so my brother rolled out first and he's like, "Woo, that was fun." And then my cousin rolled out, "Woo, that was fun. Come on, Michelle, you could do it." I'm like, And she goes, "Sneaky snake." I'm like, "Okay, don't let Sneaky Snake get your root beer." And then I rolled right off and I landed smack down on that ground, knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't breathe. And so my brother and my cousin like, "Don't tell mom, don't tell Aunt Joe." Like they're, like, "It'll be okay, you'll
Yes.
be fine. Breathe," like that kind of thing. So nothing happened with those two, but me, I'm like, so yeah, I got in a lot of trouble with it's amazing that I'm alive,
Yeah.
having an older brother like I did. But anyway,
Yeah.
so don't
And a
let Sneaky
cousin
Snake get
like
your
you
root
had.
beer. Yeah, and we would play all the time, out at our island. We would play, like, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and Becky, and I was always the girl, and I hated it. So it was fun. We had
Nice.
a good life growing up. But, yeah, so
Yeah.
we had these inside secrets or inside phrases that
Mhm.
if you said it or said part of it, then you could giggle, and, of course, we'd always get in trouble because 'cause we'd say it at the most inappropriate time. You're sitting in church, and you're like, "Sneaky snake," and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like that kinda stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, and
so
that's the thing is that it's fun to be around people that do get experiences that you have. Like I said, my cousin Angel, she was my best friend growing up. We lived in a little tiny town that had like a population of 600 people, and I remember there was an alley behind my grandma's house that had a basketball goal, and all the cute boys in the neighborhood would go play basketball. And so Angel and I wanted to look like we were uh, really into exercise. This was when Jane Fonda was super cool and stuff.
you
And
have the headbands and the
yes,
sweatbands
yeah,
around the
no,
wrist.
we had the headbands, we had the shorts with the running stripes on the side of it, the tube socks and our tennis shoes on, and we went to run. We were going to jog through the neighborhood and just happened to jog by where the boys were shooting hoops. And my my cousin Angel goes, "Well, how long do you think we're going to be gone?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll just see how far we can run." And she goes, "We should probably bring a snack." And I was like, "Yeah, that's true. We don't want to get too far away. What if we get hungry?" And here she comes running out of grandma's kitchen with a bag of Oreos. And so we were jogging past the guys like, hey, boys, eating Oreo cookies as we were running. So I'm sure we had the black on our teeth. We're like, hey.
And then
Right?
Oreos, you're thirsty. Did you bring any
Oh, yeah, yeah.
drinks with you?
Yeah,
You're
we had
probably
a little
choking.
jug of milk. I had the milk. She had the Oreos. But like, it is that. It's, if you say Oreo cookies, both of us look at each other and laugh because we just get it, right? And I think it's like that for I think it could be like that for comedians,
Yeah.
a lot of times you're in a room where nobody gets sneaky snakes, nobody gets Oreo, right? But when you get to be in a room with other comedians and get to have conversations, there's these inside experiences and moments and things like that that you've had that only another comedian can get. And,
Yeah.
and we've talked before, on last season, we talked about how it can be, kind of lonely. Comedy can be lonely. Typically, you're doing these shows by yourself. You're on the road by yourself. And in this episode, we are talking about how you've got a friend and how important it is to have comedian friends. So I know, Michelle, you've come and stayed at my house before, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, yeah,
And I had a lot of fun there. Your house was amazing and beautiful, but you've moved
I
recently,
have.
and I think
I have.
part of that was don't let Michelle know where we live again. I think that's
Yeah,
what it is.
after that first experience, we thought, it's probably best that we relocate, because
Well, your
no,
toilet was smoking, so
my toilet was smoking. Okay, so this is what happened when comedians stay with you. The day Michelle leaves, I go upstairs and I look in the guest bathroom and she has basically put eyeballs and a cigar in my toilet. That's how like she propped up some things in the bathroom that made it look like my toilet was smoking. It was an empty toilet paper roll, and it made it look like my
yeah.
my toilet was smoking a cigar. So that's super fun. I had
Well, it's
never
kind of like
seen
when you
that
go on a
before.
cruise and they take your towels and they shape them
Yes.
into
Yeah.
animals and stuff. I was
Yeah.
trying to do that same thing, but I don't know how to do that. But I
Yeah.
did know how to make it roll it up and make it look like eyes. So it was the eyes were the two full toilet paper rolls, and
Yes,
then
that's
the
right.
cigar was an empty toilet paper roll uh in between the seat and the lid kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it looked like my toilet was smoking. And we also got to go down the interstate. We ran down I-65, did
Yep.
some videos Michelle was doing because I think you were doing the videos to document like the last moments of your life because she didn't think she was going to survive my driving and the F-150
No.
at 85 miles an hour down I-65 to go hang out with other comedians in a writers group. But again, that's another. I have been so blessed to be
Yes.
not too far away from some fantastic comedians, and I'll just list a few, but they are where I made friends with Jeff Allen and Moody Malavi and Lee Hardin and Christy
Mhm.
Conder and Rick Roberts would come there. All of these amazing writers and comedians, and I got to learn from them. I got to really cut my learning curve in half by being able to
Yeah.
just sit in at first and just listen to how they punched up jokes and those kind of things. But you and I got to have that experience, and it's awesome to be able to go and stay with other comedians and comedians who will open their home to you because we know financially,
Oh, yeah.
not every gig, especially club comedians, a lot of
Mhm.
clubs. I mean, there are a lot of people that are on the road and they're trying to get that experience. They're getting stage time and they aren't getting a huge paycheck as if they were doing a corporate gig. Right.
Right.
And to have a
Oh,
place
yeah.
where somebody's one, your friend and can relate to you and hang out with you. And two, to soften that blow financially of, having to pay for a hotel room and that kind of stuff. That's a big deal. Have you ever had other comedians come stay with you, or have you stayed at other people's homes besides mine?
I have stayed at other people's homes besides yours, and it's a little risky sometimes
It
because
can
you
be.
have to yeah, because you have to know, like, if they have a cat and you're allergic, that's not a good
Yeah,
fit for you.
yeah,
If their dogs bite that's not a good fit for you. So it's just
Right.
this, or if they have a house alarm and you have no idea how to turn off the alarm.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, but the
Right.
key's under the mat. It'll be fine. Go. That's great until the cops show up. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Like, "Well, I had a key." Mm-hmm. Sure,
Yes.
you
Yes.
did.
Okay, this wasn't a comedian. This was my son's best friend from elementary school. His name is Calvin. He's in the military. He's in the Navy. Shout out to my sweet boy Calvin Blankenship.
Calvin.
Yes. Thank you for your service. Calvin, he's in the line of duty. Like he's in a very dangerous position, and I didn't think that being in my subdivision was going to be more dangerous than serving in the military. But what happened was he had my
Well, what
garage
happened
door
was
code, and it wasn't working. The code wasn't working, and so he just went to the front door and let himself in. It was not my house. He was at the wrong house. He was 2 houses down from my house, and he just walked in on a family, a very
Oh.
big grown man who was like, first he was out there like trying to break in with the code, right? And he had been to my house, but he got there at night. And so the next day, him and his girlfriend went to work out at the gym. And when they came back, it was daytime, and he thought he was at the right house. And he literally he walked into the wrong home. And he said, "This guy was huge." And I thought, what if he was armed? Like I could have
Right?
got him killed. He's more dangerous in the subdivision in Kentucky than it is in the Navy. I don't know. It's awful. But
Details.
yeah, but
Pay
no, that's
attention
not
to the details.
a bad thing to say though, is that because I usually do when someone's coming to stay with me, I will let them know that I have dogs, to make sure, one, that they're not afraid of dogs, and two, that they're
Mhm.
not allergic to dogs. Because obviously if they are, then
Or nuts. Whew.
yeah. No, and I do find out like dietary needs as well, because we usually cook for whoever comes. Well, I say we. My husband cooks when we have company. He doesn't cook when it's just us. But if
Yeah, he
someone
didn't
comes
cook for us.
over,
He didn't cook for us. No.
no,
No,
mm-mm.
I
We
didn't
no,
get
we ate
that
gas
special
station
treatment.
food. That's what we
Yes,
did.
we
We ate
did,
gas
and that
station food.
was a bad decision on our part. An
You
hour
know,
there, hour back. Yeah, that was a bad decision.
yeah,
But
it
yeah,
was what it
having
was.
having a friend like you
Speaking of
who's very
dogs.
encouraging, very open, and has a hospitality gift. You're like, yeah, come on, you could stay here. We have an extra room for you.
Mm.
So like staying at your house is like staying at a hotel. It's like because it's a bed and breakfast kind of thing. You get the breakfast, you get the
Yeah,
food. It's
yeah,
wonderful. But if you came to my house, because I have a smaller home and I have children, you get the couch. And if you don't like
right,
sleeping on the couch and being in the middle of the living room and people walking in and out,
right,
all times of the day, this is not the place for you
right.
at all. You want to get a tent and pitch it out back? Not a problem. Go
Yeah,
ahead. It's
yeah,
fine with us. But it's you have to really know where you're staying. Like I've
yeah.
also stayed at Marlowe's house before because when I did the
Yes,
cubbyhole, oh
yes,
my
yeah,
gosh, you're treated like a queen
yeah,
there. It's
yeah,
amazing. It
yeah.
was the mints on the bed, and Frankie the dog was like a butler. He'd come in with. I'm just joking now. He didn't do those things.
He's adorable though. He definitely
he,
runs
he
the show at that.
he
Well, and you
is.
said Marlo, she just stayed with me recently, and you said June's like a bed and breakfast. Like afterwards, she texted me and she's like
Mhm.
the best bed and breakfast I've ever stayed at. Because, but speaking of dogs, I got up and I made breakfast for everybody. My son was going to school that morning. She was here, and we'll get to that in just a second. She was here to go to a fundraiser for a friend of ours, and I got up and I made this big crescent roll breakfast that had
Ooh.
bacon and eggs and cheese in it. And it was like wrapped in a crescent, or no, I'm sorry, it was ham and eggs and cheese in the crescent roll. And then there was fresh fruit and a plate full of bacon, right? And
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
my son got up and he ate breakfast. And then
Mhm.
Martha ate breakfast. I don't
Mhm.
eat breakfast. A little bit later, she walks in and she goes, "Did your son just come eat breakfast?" And I go, "No, no, no, he ate before you." And she's like, "Okay, because it's all gone now." Reggie! My boxer retriever got up on the counter, ate all of the bacon, the rest of the crescent roll, left the fresh fruit. What a jerk. Ate ate the breakfast.
You only gave me cold cereal. Now I know why.
Yeah. Reggie wouldn't have touched your cold cereal. But no, you're right. It is. It's fun to be able to stay. Marlo is fantastic. I'm sure that her home is lovely.
Yeah.
And
So
you
it's
just mentioned the cubby hole. So we want to tell
Mhm.
people what the cubby hole is.
Oh, well, God placed on Marlo's heart to have a place for shows to encourage women. So it's what is it? Light, laughter, and love
Mhm.
is her saying for the cubbyhole. And so they remodeled their basement and
Mhm.
created this space, this working space. And so they've had comedy shows down there. She's had training because she's a life coach, kind of.
Yeah.
That's not the right word, but she's she does things for people. Um,
Very specific.
good things,
Very
good things.
specific.
Well, I can't think of the words. And she's an author, so she's wrote an amazing book that
Yes.
you all should go out. It's available on Amazon.
Yeah.
Um, name that book, June.
It's God Sprinkles, and I have,
God sprinkles.
my copy is downstairs. I was actually reading it this morning. It's really good. But that's,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about, the benefit of having these friends, in different parts of the country, and with Marlo, she even went and, like you said, follow the nudging of God to create a comedy club in her
Yeah.
basement.
Yep.
And when you think basement, like a little, no, this is legit. This is a huge home with a big basement with
And a
audio and video
stage.
and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but
It's
Marlo had come
fantastic.
here because a friend of ours, Bone Hampton, he's a Christian comedian. He's basically a son to Shonda Pierce, and has
He's an
toured with her for.
actor.
Yes, he's an
Yeah.
actor, and he's toured with Shonda for years, and just, I mean, he's just a all around accomplished comedian and friend. And so Bone got very sick. It's probably 7 months now, at least, that
Hmm.
he's been very sick. And we were talking before how not all comedians, because you're self-employed, one of the most difficult things is insurance, is having health insurance. If you're
Having
not,
good. Yeah.
yes, having good health insurance. If you're not what do you call it, dual occupation,
Hmm.
if you're not working on your own, fortunately for me, my husband, I'm covered under his health insurance, so I don't have to worry about those things. But anyway, as long as he's been in the hospital, insurance or no, bills financially just outrageous. And so Marlo came here, drove all the way from Michigan, stayed with
Hmm.
me, and the next morning we drove to Nashville and helped with the fundraiser event for Bone. And I am telling you, when you talk about you
Nice.
got a friend, some of the most amazing, clean comedians. I believe one of them maybe not clean, but everyone worked clean. We were at the Brentwood Baptist Church, and they came out and did a show, and it was hosted by Shonda Pierce and Tim Hawkins.
Hmm.
People who were on the lineup. Now, there were some people who were on the lineup but didn't get to come because COVID, the Omicron, had kind of amped up at that point. There were some that weren't
Yeah.
able to come, but Bob Smiley performed, Ken Davis, Leland Clausen came all the way from Canada,
Wow.
Akatunde, PJ Walsh. And then I met this amazing woman. Her name is Egypt Ali. And
Spoken word artist.
she's a spoken word artist, and I think she is like, listen, I listened to some of her stuff the other day. I'm a huge fan. I'm talking just you listen to how talented she is, and it just had me hyped up, and just powerful speaker. And she did, for the first time, did like a comedic story. And
Mm.
Bone is somebody who had, I guess, encouraged her early on. And so a lot of people might be like, why would someone do a comedy thing for the first time? Because there was over 2,000 people there. They packed the whole church. Why would someone do comedy for the first time in a venue like that with Tim Hawkins, Shonda Pierce, Ken Davis, all those folks? I thought it was such a tribute to Bone, because he is that person who encourages people. And especially people, one thing I've told him is that, as a nobody in comedy, he always has made me feel like I'm somebody. And
That's really
he
good.
encourages people as they get started, and
Hmm.
so we got to see Egypt do her first just kind of comedy type set. And Bob Smiley was there, and I guess they're real good friends. And so definitely look up all those people. And then on top of that,
The singer too.
yes, uh, he's an award-winning Christian artist, contemporary R&B, Torrin Wells.
Mhm.
And Torrin he sung the song Hills and Valleys. If you look up Torrin and you see the concerts that he puts on, the thousands of people that come and see him, the accomplishments, the songs that he sings that you've probably heard before but didn't, like me, didn't realize, oh, he sings that song. I
Mhm.
knew who he was, and I knew one of his songs, but I didn't know across the board. I think he came from Texas just to sing a song, just one song. And Bone did a video from the hospital, and they played that video, and of course it had everybody crying. Marlo and another volunteer was working one door. Myself and Christy Conder, my comedy twin in Nashville, was working another door, and we just had a great time with everybody who was there. There were comedians from Texas, friends of ours, the Brights, which I think we're going to have on this season, right? Sherry and
Yes. Yep,
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to have them on.
Yeah, so they flew in just to be there. They came in from Texas, and then Candace Kirkpatrick. Okay, not
Yep.
necessarily a comedian, but the role that she's in right now, she's the comic relief
Yes.
for a TV series, Vindication, which you can see on PureFlix. You just have to look it up. It's a crime drama, but her character is adorable and so funny. Michele, I have to tell you this. I got a text message from my second cousin in Florida who was like, "How do you know Candace?" And I said, "Oh, we've never officially met. It's kind of one of those connections through
Mhm.
Facebook and social media and different friends." And I said, I've never officially met her, but she's been really kind and supportive to me as far as comedy, and I try to encourage her in her role or whatever." And she said, "I have been looking for her for a long time. I didn't know what her married name was, and I always wondered what
Wow.
had happened to her. My cousin and Candace went to high school together and did
What?
plays." Yes, and they did plays together, and she had just
Wow.
run into somebody the other day, their old drama teacher, I think. And Karen asked, she said, "Hey, do you know whatever happened to Candy?" And the lady was like, "Oh yeah, she still acts, and her last name is Kirkpatrick and all this stuff." She said, then I looked her up and I was like, wait, June's friends with her? How crazy is that? How crazy is that? But
That's so
anyway,
crazy.
but she came in, and I think because her and Leland Clausen, who was on our season, was on our
Mhm.
last season of Laugh Support, I think she came in to see him. Um,
Yep.
the One of the founders of Korn, the metal band Korn, his name is Brian Welch. I think his stage name is Head, and he's in a metal band, but he's a Christian. And
That's
I got to
interesting
yeah,
that,
go ahead.
if it's the metal group called Korn,
Mhm.
why his name isn't Ear.
Mm, right. You would think instead of head, he would be ear.
Right.
Yeah, and
I'm just wondering. Maybe that's
it's
the
corn
drummer.
with a yes, it's corn with a K. But it has the backwards K, and I think that I heard him on an interview one time say that they took that off of Toys R Us. Toys R Us had the backwards
Yeah,
letters,
backwards R.
and so they
Yeah.
did theirs as if a child had written it. But anyway, um, it was cool to see him because like him and Tim Hawkins and Leland after the show, they were just kind of hang out in the lobby and were
Yeah.
just accessible to people and taking
Mhm.
pictures and that kind of stuff. But it was all about being a friend to
Mhm.
another
Friends
comedian.
coming and supporting. And, like,
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about having friendships and having friends, friends
Hmm.
encourage you, they can,
Yeah.
support you, they can uplift you, um, they can, you can the back and forth relationship with friends is
Hmm.
so important because
Yeah.
especially in the day and age that we're living in now, where everyone is isolated and
Right.
told to separate and told to stay home.
Yeah.
It's such a good thing to have friends that you can reach out and still be, even if it's not in the same room. that you can reach out through video, that you can reach out through
Yeah.
phones.
Yeah.
It's better to have the face-to-face relationships. It's better to have, go out for coffee and things like that. But if you can't go out for coffee, pick up the phone and start talking to
Yeah.
people, not
Yeah.
texting. Talk to them. It's
Yeah.
it's so
Talk.
important to hear the voice. It actually there's something that physically happens to you when you see somebody that you haven't seen in a while,
Mhm.
and you get to smile, or like when talking about like my cousin, I know that if I go visit her, then it'll be as if we like years have never passed
Right.
since the
Right.
last time we saw each
Yeah.
other. And that's the
Yeah.
same thing with really good friends. You could pick up right where you left off. I
Yeah.
have I have another friend in Texas. When we all lived up in Chicago, we were really good friends, and our kids were little at the same time, kind of a deal. And I know that if I go to Texas, anytime that she and I see each other, it's like time hasn't
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing like that. And I love the fact that so many high caliber comedians came together
Right.
to support their friend, to do a
Yeah.
fundraiser, because all the people that you listed on that list that performed,
Mhm.
just going to an individual show of just their show,
Yeah.
that's a, $50 and up ticket. So to
Yeah.
have all of them on one show, oh
Yes.
my gosh, I would have loved to have been in the audience. I wasn't able to get away to go up to be part of that, but it was wonderful to see all your posts about it, to
Mhm.
hear the success of it. And I
Yeah.
know it was just a drop in the bucket for Bones medical um, uh, finances. I
Right.
know that he's going to continue to need more. So I mean, what I think we'll do on this episode is I'll make sure that we put a link if people still
Yes.
want to donate to Bone, that they
Yes.
can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I know that he's still, working hard, trying to
Mhm.
get back up on his feet, trying to continue moving forward. And I'm hoping and praying that with the support of his friends and the support of good medical care, that he'll be back up, not that long from now. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
that
for
that's the
sure, for
case.
sure. And that's the thing too, is that comedy can be we do a lot of fundraisers for other people. I know you've been
Yeah.
involved in fundraisers for other corporations and nonprofits and those kind of things. But to be able to take that skill and use that for your friends, that was really precious to see. And just a reminder to comedians, that what we do uh, can encourage people, can warm their
Mhm.
heart, can make their day, but also can be used as a tool to truly help somebody in need. And so
Yes.
I just say, this year, let's keep an eye out for that. Let's pay attention to areas that we can hop in and be there, not only for other people, but for people in our comedy community. Well,
Yeah.
Michelle, I think that's it for this
Yes.
episode.
I know, it went by too fast because I
It
know we
goes
have
by
so much
fast.
more to talk about
Yeah,
friendships and things like that. So hopefully we can cover that in another episode,
of
because
course.
I would love to talk about how your community came together, how the whole America came together to go help support Bowling Green and the other areas that were hit by tornadoes and things like that. Like when
Yes.
bad things happen, I love that we people come together, and it's friends that we haven't met yet. That's really what it
Right,
is.
right. Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the
yep.
Bowling Green historic tornado that came through my town just after our last episode last season. So we'll get to that in another episode. But today, I just want to say, Michelle, thank you for being a friend. And it makes me think of Betty White. Travel down the road and back again. Oh, God rest her soul. That woman,
Oh,
that amazing woman.
so talented, such a
Yeah.
legacy.
Yeah, but
Yep, yep, yep.
thanks for being my friend Michelle and doing this episode.
Thank you for being my
You
friend.
you can catch the Live Support podcast on Captivate FM, Amazon, Apple Podcast, Audible, Spotify, Player FM, and others. Don't forget to find us on YouTube and the Creative Motion Network, on Roku and
Vimeo.
Vimeo, I
Vimeo.
don't know, and Vimeo.
Vimeo.
All right, all right. Jesus and Junebug loves you. That's it for this episode. Tell them bye, Michelle.
Bye, Michelle. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you another time.